Appetite.
His appetite for pizza is insatiable.
Applaud.
The audience will applaud your performance.
Apple of the eye.
She's the apple of her parents' eyes.
Appliance.
The kitchen appliance made cooking easier.
Applicable.
This rule is applicable to all employees.
Application.
Please fill out the job application form.
Appoint.
They will appoint a new manager soon.
Appreciate.
I appreciate your help with the project.
Apprehend.
It took me a while to apprehend the complex theory.
Approach.
We should approach the problem systematically.
Appropriate.
Wearing formal attire is appropriate for the event.
Approval.
She eagerly awaited his approval for the plan.
Approximate.
The approximate cost of the trip is $500.
Apt.
She is apt at solving mathematical problems.
Aqua.
The aqua park has a variety of water rides.
Architect.
The architect designed the modern building.
Ardent.
He's an ardent fan of the football team.
Assiduous.
Her assiduous efforts led to success.
Abrasive.
His abrasive comments offended some people.
Abundant.
The forest is abundant with wildlife.
Acclimate.
It will take time to acclimate to the new climate.
Acme.
Winning the championship was the acme of his career.
Admonish.
The teacher had to admonish the noisy students.
Bold. Daring.
Example, she made a bold decision to climb the mountain alone.
Bomb. To drop explosive bombs.
Example, the military planned to bomb the enemy's headquarters.
Bombastic. Pompous.
Example, his bombastic speech was filled with grandiose claims.
Bona fide. True.
Example, they requested bona fide evidence of the accident.
Bond. Agreement.
Example, they signed a legal bond to ensure the terms of the contract.
Bondage. Slavery.
Example, the history of the abolition of slavery is significant. Bone hadi, a piece of the skeleton. Example, the archaeologists discovered ancient bones buried in the ground.
Bony. Lean and thin.
Example, after weeks of illness, he appeared bony and frail.
Bonus. Share in profits.
Example, employees received a year-end bonus for their hard work.
Bookish. Fond of books.
Example, her bookish interests led her to become a librarian. Bookmaker, lekak, writer of me books. Example, the famous bookmaker published several bestsellers.
Boom. To roar.
Example, the thunderstorm made the sky boom with loud thunder.
Boon. Blessing.
Example, access to clean water is a boon for rural communities.
Booth. Hut.
Example, at the fair, vendors set up small booths to sell their products.
Border. Side.
Limit. Example, the river forms a natural border between the two countries.
Bore. To tire.
Example, the long lecture began to bore the students.
Borrow. To take on loan.
Example, she had to borrow money from her friend to pay the bills.
Bosom friend. Close friend.
Example, she has been my bosom friend since childhood. We share everything.
Billow. Wave.
Example, the billowing waves crashed against the rocky shore.
Berserk. Very angry.
Example, when he heard the news, he went berserk with rage.
Bevy. Group of birds.
Example, a bevy of colorful birds gathered at the bird feeder.
Brusque. Rude.
Example, his brusque response offended the customer.
Buccaneer. Ship thief.
Example, pirates were notorious buccaneers in the age of piracy.
Curiosity, desire to know. Example, her curiosity about the mysterious book led her to read it from cover to cover. Pounce, to spring or swoop suddenly. Example, the cat pounced on the toy mouse with lightning speed. Overture, an opening move or proposal. Example, the government's new policy can be seen as an overture to improving diplomatic relations. Drought, extended period of dryness. Example, The farmers struggled during the drought as their crops withered without rain. Inundation, flooding or overflow. Example, the heavy rain caused the inundation of the streets, making them impassable. Gambol, to play or frolic in a lively way. Example, children love to gambol in the park, especially on sunny days. Pilgrim, a person on a religious journey. Example, thousands of pilgrims visit the holy shrine every year. Imposter, someone who pretends to be someone else. Example, the imposter posed as a doctor but had no medical training. Solitary, alone or isolated. Example, he enjoys the solitude of the wilderness and often goes on solitary hikes. Starvation, extreme hunger due to lack of food. Example, the relief organization provided food to the starving refugees. Thrifty, careful with money, economical. Example, her thrifty habits allowed her to save a significant amount of money. Daring, brave and adventurous. Example, the daring rescue mission saved the hikers stranded on the mountain. Detect, to discover or find. Example, the detective worked tirelessly to detect the identity of the thief. Absurd, ridiculously unreasonable. Example, his excuse for being late was so absurd that no one believed him. Diligent, hardworking and conscientious. Example, her diligent study habits helped her excel in school. Conquest, the act of overcoming or defeating. Example, the conquest of the enemy's territory was a significant achievement. Lunatic, a person who is mentally unstable. Example, the authorities placed the dangerous lunatic in a psychiatric hospital. Furious, extremely angry. Example, he was furious when he discovered his car had been stolen. Nimble, quick and light in movement or action. Example, the nimble gymnast performed a series of acrobatic flips. Awkward, lacking skill or grace. Example, he felt awkward at the formal dinner because he didn't know which fork to use. Precise, exact and accurate. Example, the engineer made precise measurements to ensure the building's stability. Firm, strong and unyielding. Example, the firm handshake conveyed his confidence and determination. Dejection, a state of sadness or low spirits. Example, his dejection after the loss of the game was evident in his downcast eyes. Consent, permission or agreement. Example, she needed her parents' consent to go on the school trip. Blissful, extremely happy and joyful. Example, their honeymoon in a tropical paradise was a blissful experience. Superstition, belief in supernatural influences. Example, some people have superstitions about black cats bringing bad luck. Fictional, imaginary or not real. Example, the novel is a work of fictional storytelling set in a magical world. Discrimination, unfair treatment based on differences. Example, discrimination based on race or gender is unacceptable. Conventional, following established customs or practices. Example, they had a conventional wedding ceremony with all the traditional rituals. Desperation, a state of hopelessness or extreme need. Example, the refugees fled their war-torn country in desperation. Fascinated, extremely interested or captivated. Example, She was fascinated by the ancient artifacts in the museum. Ruinous, causing destruction or downfall. Example: the economic crisis had a ruinous impact on businesses. Genuine, authentic and real. Example: his genuine concern for others made him a trusted friend. Gloomy, dark and depressing. Example: the gloomy weather matched his somber mood. Prudent, wise and careful in decision-making. Example: it's prudent to save money for unexpected expenses. Novice, a beginner or someone new to a skill. Example: as a novice cook, he followed recipes closely to learn. Veteran, an experienced and skilled person. Example: the veteran firefighter led the team during the challenging rescue. Winsome, charming and attractive. Example: her winsome smile brightened up the room. Luminous, radiating light, glowing. Example: the night sky was filled with luminous stars. Veneration, deep respect and reverence. Example: the veneration of ancestors is an important tradition in some cultures. Haphazard, random and disorganized. Example: the books on the shelf were arranged in a haphazard manner.